With summer around the corner, nothing quite beats hosting a barbecue in the back garden with plenty of ice-cold bevies. The smell of charcoal, the sizzle of burgers hitting the grill, the gentle breeze carrying the scent of freshly cut grass. It's an experience that screams summertime. But in the rush to get the meat on the grill and the potato salad on the table, even the most experienced BBQ host can forget to chill the beer. And folks, let's be honest, nothing ruins a summer event quite as badly as warm lager. Thankfully, a new study reveals the fastest way to chill a beer. And it doesn't mean playing beat the clock with an exploding bottle in your freezer. Consumer Champion, which tested 8 popular internet chilling hacks on bottled beer and found one clear winner. In just half an hour, it brought the beer temperature down from a tepid 20.5 degrees Celsius to a frosty 1.6 degrees Celsius, more effective than any other method. So can you guess what the best chilling method is? See the full results below. The winning method involves wrapping your beer bottle in a wet paper towel and placing it in the freezer. The moisture in the towel speeds up the cooling process, making your beer ice cold in no time. So next time you're in a pinch, remember this simple trick. Your guests will thank you, and you'll be the hero of the BBQ. No more waiting around or risking an explosion, just perfectly chilled beer every time. Cheers to that. All right, folks, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather the lukewarm bottle under the tap. We've all been there, right? Frantically trying to cool down a six-pack with minutes to spare before guests arrive. So you crank the cold water as low as it'll go, shove the bottle under there, and give it a good 3-minute ice bath. Maybe even twist it around a few times for good measure, like you're trying to hypnotize the heat right out of it. But here's the kicker. This method, while well-intentioned, is about as effective as using a tea light to heat your house in winter. The study found that running a bottle under a cold tap for 3 minutes, even with a little twist and shout action, only took the beer down 2.5 degrees Celsius. That's right, from 20.5 degrees Celsius to a still pretty darn warm 18 degrees Celsius. You're left with a lukewarm beverage and a water bill that's higher than a kite at a carnival. So let's retire this method, shall we? It's time to move on to more efficient cooling strategies. For instance, adding salt to your ice bucket can significantly speed up the cooling process. The salt lowers the freezing point of water, making the ice melt faster and absorb heat more quickly. Or if you're really in a pinch, consider investing in a rapid beverage chiller. These gadgets can cool your drink in just a couple of minutes. So next time you're in a rush, skip the running tap and opt for a method that actually works. Your guests and your wallet will thank you. Now, if you thought running water was a bust, just wait till we dunk this next method in the nope bucket, literally, the old bucket of cold water trick. You know the one, fill up a bucket, ice optional, drop in your beers and hope for the best. It seems logical, right? Water's cold, beer needs to be cold, what could go wrong? Well, according to the study, pretty much everything. Turns out simply submerging your bottles in a bucket of cold water is about as effective as asking a goldfish to mow the lawn. It takes the same amount of time, 3 minutes, to achieve the same disappointing result as the running tap method, a measly 2.5 degrees Celsius temperature drop. That's right, you're still stuck at 18 degrees Celsius, which in the world of refreshing beverages is a penalty box you don't want to be in. So ditch the bucket, my friends. We've got more effective cooling techniques to explore. All right, this next method requires a bit of artistry, a touch of whimsy, and a whole lot of hope. It's the wet flannel in a breezy location technique. Sounds like a rejected Harry Potter spell, doesn't it? The idea here is to create a miniature swamp cooler for your beer. You drape a wet flannel over a bowl of cold water, strategically position your bottle underneath, and hope that a passing breeze will create enough evaporation to chill your beverage. Now, while this method does have a certain rustic charm to it and might even earn you some style points, its effectiveness is, shall we say, questionable at best. The study doesn't even give us hard numbers on this one, and frankly, I'm not surprised. Trying to chill a beer with a damp cloth and a prayer is like trying to outrun a cheetah on a unicycle. It's entertaining to watch, but ultimately futile. So let's move on to methods that actually stand a chance against the heat. All right, let's step away from the DIY cooling contraptions and head into the familiar territory of your refrigerator, specifically the bottom shelf. Now, we all know that the fridge is a beer's best friend, but not all fridge real estate is created equal. The bottom shelf, while certainly colder than your countertop, isn't exactly the Arctic Circle of your kitchen. The study found that relegating your beers to the bottom shelf for a good long while resulted in a modest 3.6 degrees Celsius drop in temperature. That brings us down to 16.9 degrees Celsius, which is getting closer to acceptable, but still a long way from ice-cold bliss. The bottom shelf is a good starting point, a holding pen for your brews, but if you want to achieve optimal chill, we're going to have to venture further into the frosty frontier. Now things are about to get a little controversial. We're entering the high-stakes, high-reward, high-potential for explosion territory of the freezer. But hold on to your bottle openers, because we're not just tossing our beers in willy-nilly. Oh no. This method involves a little something extra wet tissue paper. That's right, the idea is to wrap your bottle in a damp paper shroud before sending it into the frosty abyss. The theory, as far as I can tell, is that the wet tissue paper will somehow accelerate the cooling process. However, the study found that while this method did drop the temperature of a beer to a respectable 8.9 degrees Celsius in 30 minutes, it wasn't as effective as just putting the bottle in the freezer without any tissue paper. So, we've learned one thing: when it comes to the freezer, sometimes less is more. Alright, let's address the elephant-shaped ice sculpture in the room, the freezer. It's the go-to solution for chilling things quickly, but it's also a minefield of potential disasters. Forget about your beer for too long and you'll end up with a frozen, exploded mess. But if you're careful, and more importantly, if you set a timer, the freezer can be your best friend in a time crunch. The study found that placing a bottle in the middle shelf of a freezer for 30 minutes took the temperature down to a very respectable 7.8 degrees Celsius. That's getting pretty darn close to ideal drinking temperature. However, the freezer method comes with a caveat: it's risky business. One wrong move and you're cleaning up shards of glass and beer cycles. So, if you're going to brave the frozen tundra of your freezer, proceed with caution, my friends. Now, let's move on to a method that combines the best of both worlds: the efficiency of the freezer with the safety and control of a more, shall we say, analog approach. It's the classic ice bath, but with a twist. We're not just talking about a few measly ice cubes rattling around in a bowl of water. Oh no, we're talking about a full-on 1 kilogram ice extravaganza. Find yourself a large bucket, a cooler, or if you're feeling fancy, a vintage wash basin, and fill it with a mountain of ice and cold water. Plunge your beers into this frosty oasis and let the chilling commence. The study found that this method took the beer from a sweltering 20 degrees Celsius to a delightfully refreshing 3.9 degrees Celsius in just half an hour. That's right, folks, we're talking about a temperature drop of over 16 degrees Celsius. Now that's what I call a chilling revelation. All right, folks, we've arrived at the summit of Mount Chill, the ultimate solution to all your warm beer woes. It's the method that combines the refreshing power of ice water with a dash of scientific sorcery. I'm talking about the ice, water, and salt trifecta. That's right, adding a simple 100 grams of salt to your ice water bath is like hitting the fast-forward button on the chilling process. You see, salt lowers the freezing point of water, which means the ice melts at a lower temperature, absorbing more heat from its surroundings. In this case, your beer. It's like tricking the laws of thermodynamics into working overtime for you, and the results speak for themselves. The study found that this method brought the beer temperature down from a sweat-inducing 20.5 degrees Celsius to a brain-freezing 1.6 degrees Celsius in just half an hour. That's right, folks, in the time it takes to grill a burger to perfection, you can have a perfectly chilled beer ready to quench your thirst. Imagine the joy of taking that first sip of an ice-cold beer while your friends marvel at your newfound cooling expertise. So next time you're at a BBQ or any summer event, remember this simple trick. It's not just about cooling your drink, it's about impressing your friends with a bit of science. With just a pinch of salt, you can turn a warm beer into a refreshing delight in no time. Cheers to science and cold beers. So, there you have it. The fastest way to chill your beer is with 1 kilogram of ice, a bucket of cold water, and 100 grams of salt. It's like a mini science experiment in a bucket, and the results are undeniably delicious and refreshing. Next time you're hosting a BBQ, you won't have to worry about serving warm beer to your guests. Just remember to pre-chill those beverages like a pro, and you'll be the toast of